Average hockey fan here once again, and today I'd like to talk about the heart and soul of the Montreal Canadiens. Not Carey Price, not Shea Weber, Brendan Gallagher. He's been the heart and soul for at least the past 3 or 4 years, and prior to that he was a heart and soul player. Even though he didn't show up points-wise, he was a heart and soul player. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, he was a heart and soul player. As for Gallagher, the total he's made in his entire career so far, $15,253,902. His cap hit is $3.75 million. This is for a 30-goal scorer, a great two-way player, an agitator, a guy who isn't scared to go to the problem areas, a guy who can score on the power play. He's not doing it that much this year, but he can score on the power play. He's a guy who can do so many things, and he's a heart and soul player. He's a team. Any team he's on, fans are going to love him. He's a fan favorite. He's been a fan favorite for years in Montreal. He's had 2 pretty bad injury-riddled years. You can call him injury-riddled. He didn't miss the whole seasons, but they did affect his totals. They did affect his production, and they didn't make him look like he was going to be as good as what he was. I knew since he came to Montreal, not the first year or two, but after that, when he really started taking off with the goals, and you could really see the shot coming, really see him developing, that he was going to be a special player. I did not know he was going to be a 30-goal scorer 2 years in a row, and I feel he's going to be a 30-goal scorer for the next couple of years. The Habs have a 30-goal scorer, potential 35, maybe even 40-goal scorer down the road for a $3.75 million cap hit. For all the flack Bergevin takes for signing Gallagher to that extension in 2015-2016 was the absolute best move he made to get a player that good for that cheap, to hop on the chance to take him while he's injured and stuff and extend him when people were writing him off. He had a couple of hand injuries. He wasn't producing like he was supposed to. He wasn't being given a top 6 role. He wasn't that big in the playoffs. So people were writing him off saying, oh, well, maybe Montreal shouldn't resign him. The fans weren't, but people outside the fan base were. All the fans loved Galley. We wanted him resigned from the beginning, but the fans weren't. And I found that Marc Bergevin did a really good job signing him when he did, not waiting till the last minute to sign him until he got a bit better, started looking a bit better. He got him at $3.75 million, and ever since he's got that contract, except for the first year where he got injured by a Johnny Boychuk shot, after that, he's earned every penny of it. He's been nothing but great. On a team that was abysmal last year, Brendan Gallagher had a career year, stood out, fought his heart out every game, and those few wins we did have last year, 20-something wins, whatever it was, some pathetic amount, Brendan Gallagher was a big, big part of all those wins. Anyways, guys, Gallagher, he had 2 injury-riddled seasons, what I wrote in here. One was from a Johnny Boychuk shot. He also had another smaller injury a bit later in his career. He missed a couple of 10 games from a Shea Weber shot, and he had another bad injury prior to that. I couldn't find what caused it, but I'm sure it was another hand injury. Almost all these were hand injuries. He took shots off the hand, but the reason why he takes the shots off the hand is because he's not scared to go to the front of the net. He's not scared to get in front of a slap shot. He's not scared to block a shot. He's not scared to stick his hands up to try and tip a Shea Weber slap shot. It's why that's happening to him, or why that's happened to him. He's been injury-free now for the past couple of years, and the way he plays is not a surprise the guy does get injured. But I think he's going to be solid from now on. He's more durable now. You can see Galley take a hit like he never takes before. That guy gets crushed every game, and he gets up like nothing happened. Last game, he got absolutely crushed behind the net. It's a type of hit that would take most players out, give him a concussion. The commentators never even mentioned it because Galley just popped right back up and started skating like he always does. He's great. He was drafted 147th, 2010, by Montreal, an absolute steal. He's 26 years of age. He's top 5 in goals since 2017-2018. I'm pretty sure he was drafted by Montreal. I couldn't find what team drafted him, but I'm pretty positive he was drafted by Montreal. In 2013, this is his rookie year now. In 2012-2013, he was drafted in 2010, so it took him 2 or 3 years to get going, to get into the league. But once he got into the league, he stayed into the league, and he proved he was an NHL player. A lot of knocks on Gallagher coming into the league were it's his size. He's a short, he's a smaller guy. He can skate, he can keep up with everybody, but it's his size. Can he handle the physical play? Can he get his body on it? Can he manage to get bodies out so he can get on the puck? Can he get to the front of the net in the NHL like he did in the minors? In the juniors and minors, he was a very agitating player too. I was reading a thing about Jordan Wheel, the new guy Montreal acquired, and he was talking about how since 10 years old, him and Gallagher have played against each other because they're both from BC, they're both around the same age. They're both, I think Wheel's 24, 25, Gallagher's 26. They're both around the same age, and they've played against each other, and he said, I love the guy. I've played with him before too, but playing against him is the worst thing in the world. He's got under a lot of my friends' skin growing up, and he got under my skin a lot growing up. He was a really hard player to play against, but I love the guy, and he's happy to be on the team. Wheel also played with Delorier, but those were his comments on Gallagher, and that shows playing against him. He's almost like a Marchand, but with more class than Marchand. He doesn't lick people. He doesn't do disgusting things. He's like Marchand without all the disgusting things, and probably a little bit less good offensively, because Marchand is a bit better of a player. As much as I hate Marchand, you can't deny it. Look at his numbers. 2012-2013, 44 games played, 15 goals, 13 assists, 28 points, plus 11, 44 hits, 13.52 ice time, 12.8 shooting percentage, and 2 power play goals. Absolutely crazy. And he was only on an entry level deal then. I think he was making a little bit under $1 million. 2013, 2014, 81 games played, 19 goals, 22 assists, 41 points, plus 5, 38 hits, 15.58 minutes per game, and a 9% shooting percentage. So everything went up for him the next season, except for he had a little bit less minutes played. No, he had a little bit more minutes played. He had a little bit less shooting percentage. So everything went up for him the next season except for the shooting percentage, guys. So he has progressed year by year. There was 1 year he regressed a little bit. That was due to injury. In 2014-2015, in his full 82-game season played, he had 24 goals. They got this guy in 2015-2016 for $3.75 million. Marc Bergevin signed this guy for under $4 million after he scored 24 goals in his third season and just looked like a great player. Not only are you paying him for what he does offensively, he should get more money for what he does all on the ice. He's an agitating player. We've seen him against Boston in the playoffs when Montreal went on a big run and made it to the Eastern Conference Final, spearing Chara on the face-off that, and the referee doing nothing about it, getting underneath all the Boston players' skin. Him and Weiss were animals that series. Boston hated him, and I loved him. As a Habs fan, I was pumped. Anyways, guys, in 2014-2015, 82 games played. Like I said, 24 goals, 23 assists, 47 points, plus 18, 48 hits, 16.35 ice time, 9.4 save percentage, and 3 power play goals. So absolutely everything went up from that year except for the power play goals. So I don't know, maybe the power play was pretty bad that year. I can't exactly remember. It was quite a few years ago. Next year after that, this is when he had, this is after he signed his contract, 22 games into the season, he gets hit in the hand with a Johnny Boychuk shot. It made him miss 29 games of that season, but in 53 games played that season, he had 19 goals, 21 assists, 40 points, plus 13, 43 hits, 16 minutes and 35 seconds ice time, 11% shooting, and 7 power play goals. He was on pace for about 60 points. So for $4 million, that is a steal. Look what William Nylander's getting. He's never been over a 61, 62 point player. I'm not sure what his career high is, but he's never been over the 60s, and he's making around $7 million, if I'm not mistaken, 6 point something like that, some ridiculous amount of money. And Gallagher is a bargain. I wrote down a few comparables for Gallagher, actually. The comparables I could find, the comparables when I was looking through how many goals they had the past few years, what position they play, what they do, how effective they are. Victor Arvidsson was the closest one I could find money-wise. $4.25 million is his cap hit, and he's 25 years old. The other two guys I had as comparables were Vlad Tarasenko at $7.5 million cap hit, age 27, and TJ Oshie, $5.75 million cap hit, age 32. Gallagher is a steal. I think he's personally one of the biggest bargains in the league. If you were doing a top 10 bargain contract in the league, Gallagher would be right there. I'm sure if you were doing a top 10 worst contracts in the league, a lot of people would put price up there. I wouldn't, because I love the guy, but he does make a lot of money, especially by goalie standards. Anyways, guys, 2016, 2017, he had 64 games played. He also had an injury this season. These were his back-to-back injury-riddled seasons. In 64 games played, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points, plus 7, 15.06 ice time, 69 hits, 1 power play goal. This was the year he took a Weber slap shot off the hand, I'm pretty sure. Can't remember 100%, don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure that was the year he took the Weber slap shot. 2017, 2018, 82 games played, 31 goals, hitting the 30 mark now, earning that contract big time. $4 million for 30 goals. I cannot stress enough how good of a deal this is. Marc Bergevin takes so much heat, even though after all the good moves he's made this summer, no one ever mentions the Gallagher contract, and I don't know how. It's a steal. I've been saying ever since people have been talking about Gallagher, I always bring up his contract, and no one seems to hear about it. But to me, it's a big deal. It's such a bargain. It's a steal. It's Mark Bergevin's best move. Besides drafting Spiri Kotkaniemi and bringing Max Domi over, it's Mark Bergevin's best move ever. 82 games played in 2017-2018, 31 goals, 23 assists, career high in points, 54, minus 13 because the team was terrible. It wasn't because Gallagher was terrible. It was because the team was terrible. Price had a few injuries. You're going to be on the goal. You're going to be on the ice for goals against, and he took so many stupid penalties last year. His line mates had no chemistry. He was the only one doing anything he really was the only guy producing last year besides Petrie and Byron. Other than that, there's nothing good you can say for the Habs last year, but you can say a lot good about Gally. And he had 16 minutes ice time last year, 90 hits, so he's up at 90 hits. The hits goes higher and higher every year with Gallagher. 11.2 shooting percentage, 8 power play goals. So he tied his career high in power play goals last year. He had a career high in hits last year. He had a career high in points last year, a career high in goals last year, and he played more ice time than he usually does last year. And this year, 2018-2019, 64 games played, 27 goals, 14 assists, 41 points, plus 11, 100 hits. So he's in the 100 hit club now. 16-29 ice time, 11.7 shooting percentage, 4 power play goals, but the power play is abysmal. It would be a lot better if he could get on a team that could score power play goals. I don't even notice Gally out there on the power play anymore, and that's saying something. In his career, he has 470 games played, 145 goals, 135 assists, 280 points, a plus 50, and a 10% shooting percentage, 432 hits. The main reason why I make this video is to talk about how great his contract is. It's an absolute steal. He's a heart and soul player, and I had to do a bit of a profile on him. Amazing. His playoff numbers ain't the solidest, though. 2012-2013, 5 games played, 2 goals, 0 assists, 2 points, minus 7, 9.1 shooting percentage, 14.26 ice time, 6 hits. So he does need to step up in the playoffs. This is a guy whose playoffs numbers could be a lot better, but he does a lot in the playoffs to help you anyways. He agitates players. He goes to the front of the net. He creates traffic. He turns pucks over. Not he doesn't turn the puck over. He forces turnovers, I should say. 2013-2014, 17 games played, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points, even, 10.5 shooting percentage. His plus minus was even, 10.5 shooting percentage, 13.6 ice time, and 9 hits. That's what I can see there, yeah. 13.6 ice time. Okay, 2014, 2015, this was the year they did pretty good, I'm pretty sure. In 12 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, plus 5, 7.1% shooting, 18 minutes and 2 seconds ice time, 14 hits. So the numbers had gone up a bit, but from 2013 to 2014, he regressed. So he could be a bit better. From 2014 to 2015, I should say. And from 2016 to 2017, the last year they were in the playoffs, they got eliminated by New York in the first round. They got eliminated by New York in the first round. He had 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, minus 3, 5.3 shooting percentage, 17.22 ice time, 17 hits. Now, as for Gallagher, my favorite moments for Gallagher was watching him score the hat trick the other night. Sorry guys, I had to review a few of these notes. They're kind of bunched together a bit. They're hard to do because I had to fit a lot on. I only had so much time and so much things to do, so I had to put a lot on. There was a lot more I wanted to say about Brendan Gallagher. My favorite moments with Brendan Gallagher by far when he was on the face-off, he was like outside the face-off circle. Another player, I think it was Gianta, was taking the face-off and he was lined up side by side with Chara. And when the ref had his head turned, spears Chara in the leg, Chara drops. Big giant of a man against a little tiny midget-looking player, and you could just see Gallagher was driving nuts. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't punch Gallagher. Like, he's not going to fight Gallagher. It's too unfair. Chara's not the type of player to fight a little small guy like that and punch him in the head. So he almost didn't know what to do. He looked so confused and baffled, and I loved it. As a Habs fan, it was one of my favorite moments. Watching him score his hat-trick the other night was one of my favorite moments. Watching him bark at Marchand in the playoffs. I love watching him bark at Marchand in the playoffs. And just watching him play against Brad Marchand. Every time Boston plays, watching Gally and Marchand play against each other, I love that matchup. They're both such similar players, except Marchand licks people and he's creepy. other than that, they're both such similar players. But yeah, guys, 3.75 mil for all those numbers I just listed. He's only made 15 million, a little over 15 million in his career, and that's for a total of 280 points, a plus 50, a 10% shooting, and 432 hits. He's only made 15 million in his entire career. Connor McDavid is making that almost in 1 year, and unless he's putting up 280 points, I do not know how Brendan Gallagher is not the biggest steal in the whole entire NHL. There's probably better contracts out there people could argue, but for me, my number one best contract is probably because I'm a Habs fan, is Brendan Gallagher. 3.75 million for a perennial 30-goal scorer. I have a feeling he could even hit 40 next year with the shot he has. I got a feeling he's going to be a beast, and I absolutely love the guy. This is my profile, my take on the Brendan Gallagher contract, and how much I think that player is a heart and soul player, and how much respect I have for him. Next to Carey Price, he's my favorite player on the team, and always will be. And I hope he's never not a Hab. I hope he retires with that CH on his jersey. Heart and soul player, deserves to be put in the rafters no matter what he does. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment what you think about Gally. I'm sure it's positive when it comes to Gally. It always is. And yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring that bell. Look forward to my review tomorrow, and don't forget to watch my recap after the game tomorrow. Big game night against New York tomorrow, guys. Woo! Go Habs, go!